Hello everybody, my name is Sean McCormick. Thank you for joining me on my brand new YouTube channel called Bluegrass Basics. And I'll be teaching you a little bit about the basics of bluegrass guitar, but it also applies to all kinds of acoustic guitar. A little bit about me: I've been playing guitar since I was 9 years old, so a little over 40 years. My first love and the main music that I play is bluegrass. I also play banjo, mandolin, bass, and I've recently taken up playing dobro. So I like to have a variety of musical instruments I should say, that I like to play. So I hope along this journey I'll be able to teach you a little bit about just acoustic guitar in general. And if you have any questions, be sure to leave it down in the comments. And I would love if you would subscribe to my channel. I'm going to try to do weekly videos on basic guitar and other instruments if you have any questions about that. So with that said, let's get started. Alright, if you've always wanted to know about acoustic guitar, I'll try to tell you what I know about it. If you hear the term acoustic guitar and not exactly sure what that means, basically acoustic guitar is played without any amplification. Means that you don't plug it into an amp. So you will strictly see these at bluegrass festivals, or let me reword that. At bluegrass festivals, 99% of the guitars that are played are acoustic only. A lot of bluegrass festivals, for the bands that are playing on stage, won't allow anything but acoustic guitars that are played over microphones. And that's just to keep the purity of the music alive. So, what are exactly the parts of a guitar? I always think of a guitar as being just like your body, and I'll show you why. Okay, so this is my guitar. It's an Alvarez brand guitar. Show you that real quick. And just to let you know up front, I'm not affiliated with Alvarez Guitars. I'm not a spokesman. Just happens to be the kind of guitar that I play. Really enjoy this guitar, and I'll tell you a little more about it in a later episode if you'd like to know about it. So, talking about the parts of a guitar, and I'll try to hide my face behind it so you focus on it instead of me. Okay. At the what I call the top of a guitar, from here to here, is what they call the headstock. And it describes exactly what it says. It's the head of the guitar. And this area is what holds, if you're not familiar with the parts of a guitar, break it down very simple. These are called tuning machines, or some people just call them tuners. Okay, they have posts that stick up from the guitar. Let me see if I can get that to focus. Okay, if you can see those posts, metal posts that stick up, and you also see wraps around each one of those posts. Those are the guitar strings that are wrapped around the posts there that hold the strings in place. And it's hard to show you in the video, but there are small little holes in each one of those tuners that whenever you change strings, you insert the end of the string into the hole, and then it wraps around the post, holding it in place. So again, that's a headstock, and it contains the tuners. So down here, let me go ahead and take this off. This is something else we'll talk about a little later. Something you use in conjunction with the guitar. Okay, moving right along, you've got this white piece here. It's called the nut of the guitar. Not sure why they called it that, but that is the name of it. It's the nut of the guitar. Its purpose is to hold the strings in place. If you can see that, each string has its own little slot that it sets in. And let me see if I can get a little different view. If you can see that, okay. And like I said, as you can see, each string has its own slot that it sets in, and that keeps the string spaced out exactly where it needs to be in order to play it. And another thing that it does, I'm not sure exactly how well I'll be able to show this or not, but the other function is it holds the strings up off the top of the neck so that the strings can vibrate when you play it. As you can see, there is a small space in between the strings and the neck of the guitar, which comes to the next thing about the guitar, the neck. So just like a human has a head and then a neck, this will remind you more of a giraffe than a human, because the guitar usually has a very long neck. Okay. And if you'll notice on the neck, of course, you have the string going down it, but you also have these little pieces running right here. Now this is where the terminology gets a little confusing sometimes. These are pieces of metal that run along there, and these are basically dividers. The area in between where the fret lies and the next fret lies, that's actually called a fret. Confusing, I know, but we'll go over it again. In fact, the entire neck is covered with what they call a fretboard, which is basically the wood that is on top of a guitar. Now, like I said, the little dividers that go down a guitar are called the frets, and like I said, those are just basically placeholders for where you place your finger to note a string, and we'll go over that in a little bit. So, okay, moving right along. After you come down past the neck, you'll come to the body of a guitar, and this shape of guitar that I have is what's called a dreadnought guitar. It's a very basic shape for what most bluegrass players use, this specific shape. And where the name dreadnought comes from is actually from Martin Guitar, a very, very famous guitar builder. The builders at Martin named that size after some of the naval ships. They had dreadnought size ships, so I guess it was just in tribute to the ships. Okay, all right, so let's talk a little more about what's on a guitar. Okay, you have the neck, this is the body. This area here is called a pick guard, and it does just exactly what it sounds like. Whenever you're playing and strumming a guitar, you'll have a guitar pick, there it is, a guitar pick in your hand, and you'll strum down on the strings. Now, I typically don't hit the pick guard with my pick, but there are a lot of players, whenever they play, whenever they come down, the pick will hit that area. So in order to protect the guitar itself, they put pick guards on them, typically made out of plastic. This one has a tortoiseshell type look, which I personally like, but it basically prevents the wood from being damaged. So, all right. So the next thing about the way a guitar looks is these rings that are around the guitar itself. And this area right here, that's open, very easy to remember, it's called the sound hole, because that's where the sound projects out of the guitar. So, all right, and going back to these little rings, these are for decoration only. Don't serve any other purpose, but it's for just the looks and aesthetics of a guitar. Right, and probably can't read that from here, but the majority, I'd say probably 98% of guitars that you'll see will have some type of paper label on the inside and it will have the brand name of a guitar and also what they call a model of guitar. The model of guitar that I'm playing is called a MD60BG, and you have all kinds of different models. Most famously, again, for bluegrassers and other types of music, you have Martin guitars, which have letters in front of the model number. For instance, with dreadnought guitars, you have a D18, which is very, very popular, a D28, a herringbone D28, a D35, D45, etc., etc. And typically that stands for the higher the number, the more ornamentation or other structural differences there are in a guitar.